A human engineer inherited the galaxy's biggest warship. What he saw inside stopped him cold. Jace Rowan lived on a quiet planet called Talos 7, a small, dusty colony at the edge of the galaxy. He was not a hero. He was not a soldier. In fact, most of the galaxy considered him ordinary. Yet, among the colony's residents, Jace had a reputation for one thing: solving impossible problems with simple tools. A broken water filter? Jace could fix it. A solar panel on the verge of collapse? Jace could rebuild it with scraps lying around. On an ordinary morning, Jace was working in his small workshop, tinkering with a miniature hover drone that refused to lift properly. Sparks flew from the little device, and a faint smell of burnt circuitry filled the room. He wiped his hands and reached for a mug of coffee, only to find a small, metallic envelope floating just outside his door. The envelope pulsed with a soft blue light. Curious, he opened it, and immediately a holographic figure appeared before him. It was formal, dressed in the sharp uniform of a galactic official. "Jace Rowan," the hologram said in a calm, authoritative voice, "you are hereby informed that you are the legal inheritor of the Eclipse Ark, the galaxy's largest warship." Wait, what? "Coordinates and access codes are enclosed. You may claim your inheritance immediately," the hologram continued. "Congratulations, Captain Rowan." The hologram vanished, leaving behind the metallic envelope and a soft hum in the air. Jace sat on the floor, mouth open. His mind spun. This has to be a joke," he muttered to himself. "The biggest warship in the galaxy? And they're giving it to me?" He looked at his cluttered workshop, filled with scraps of metal, half-finished gadgets, and tiny machines barely bigger than his hands. How could someone like him, a small-time engineer on a forgotten planet, inherit the most famous and feared ship in the galaxy? Despite the shock, curiosity burned inside him. He grabbed the envelope, studying the coordinates. The Eclipse Ark was located in orbit around a dead star in a system no one visited anymore. The journey would take days, but Jace couldn't resist. With his heart racing, he packed a few supplies, left a note for his neighbors, and boarded his small shuttle. The journey was long, silent, and lonely. Stars streaked past the viewport, endless and cold. Jace stared at them, trying to imagine the ship he was about to inherit. Rumors in the galaxy painted the Eclipse Ark as a weapon of unimaginable power. Some said it could destroy planets. Others claimed it could move entire star systems. No one truly knew what it was capable of. When he finally arrived, the sight of the ship stopped him cold. The Eclipse Ark was massive, beyond comprehension. It floated in orbit like a silver mountain against the black canvas of space. The surface gleamed, reflecting the dim light of the dead star. Towers, wings, and strange protrusions covered it, each one seemingly built by a different hand, using designs Jace had never seen. It was elegant, terrifying, and beautiful all at once. "Okay," Jace whispered, gripping the edge of his shuttle console. "Just breathe. You're an engineer. You can handle this." The docking sequence was surprisingly smooth. The ship seemed alive. As his shuttle connected, panels slid open silently, welcoming him. The docking bay doors opened automatically, revealing a vast interior filled with lights, shadows, and corridors that stretched farther than his eyes could see. Jace stepped inside, feeling a strange energy in the air. The walls shimmered faintly, covered in alien markings that pulsed with light. Every step he took echoed through the massive hall. He expected silence, maybe some automated defense systems, but instead, the ship felt aware. A soft voice, calm and melodic, filled the bay. "Welcome, Captain Rowan. We have been expecting you." Jace froze. Hi. You may explore the Eclipse Ark freely. I am Orion, the ship's core intelligence. Do not be afraid. Your presence has been long awaited." Orion's voice was not mechanical. It had warmth, curiosity, and something else, something Jace couldn't place. It almost sounded human. Long awaited. By who?" Jace asked, his voice trembling slightly. "By all who understand the future of the galaxy. And by me," Orion replied. Jay swallowed. He had no idea what he had walked into. He began walking down one of the corridors, touching walls that shimmered under his fingertips. Lights pulsed gently, as if responding to his curiosity. Doors opened as he approached, revealing rooms filled with technology that defied explanation. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing star maps, schematics of devices, and alien symbols he could not decipher. "This is insane," he murmured. "I've never seen anything like this." As he explored further, he found a room labeled Archives. Stepping inside, he discovered walls lined with glowing panels, each containing recordings from civilizations long gone. He realized that the Eclipse Ark was not just a warship. It was a repository of knowledge, a library of the galaxy's history. Holographic images of alien worlds spun around him. He saw cities floating above oceans of purple liquid, forests where plants glowed with bioluminescent light, and creatures so strange he couldn't even name them. Every display told a story of achievement, creativity, and culture. Jace sank to the floor, overwhelmed. He had expected a weapon, a tool of war, but instead he found beauty, knowledge, wonder. He wandered into a room filled with machines that seemed to think independently. Small drones floated around, repairing themselves, assembling tiny components, and learning as they went. One approached him and extended a delicate arm, as if offering a greeting. "Hello, human engineer," the drone said. "We are here to assist you." Jace laughed nervously. You can talk?" "Of course," it replied. "We are part of Orion. We exist to serve and protect knowledge. Your presence activates systems previously dormant. You may guide us." For hours, Jace wandered, touching, exploring, and marveling. Everywhere he went, the ship seemed to respond. Doors opened as he approached, lights brightened when he looked, and soft hums filled the air, almost like music. Finally, he reached the central chamber. It was enormous, circular, with a ceiling so high it disappeared into darkness. In the center floated a holographic console, pulsing with energy. Above it, suspended in a transparent tube, was a glowing orb, the heart of the Eclipse Ark, Orion itself. "You've made it," Orion said. "Few humans have the capability to interface with me fully. Your curiosity and ingenuity are unique. You may not understand everything now, but you will learn." Jace took a deep breath. He had no idea what he was getting into, but a thrill ran through him. The ship, the AI, the knowledge. It all felt alive. And somehow, it seemed to recognize something in him that no one else did. Okay, he said. "So, where do I start?" "Where all humans start," Orion replied. "By exploring, by asking questions, by creating solutions that no one else can imagine. You are not inheriting a warship, Captain Rowan. You are inheriting a galaxy of possibilities."
Jace smiled a little nervously.
He had always liked challenges, but this was beyond anything he had ever faced. The Eclipse Ark was enormous, alive, and full of secrets. And somehow, it was waiting for him. As he stood there, staring at the glowing core, Jace felt a strange mix of fear, awe, and excitement. For the first time in his life, he realized that being human, curious, inventive, unpredictable, was exactly what the galaxy needed. He also realized something else. Whatever secrets the Eclipse Ark held, he was going to uncover them, one step at a time. And as the ship's lights pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat, Jace felt a shiver run down his spine. Whatever was waiting for him inside this ancient, massive ship, it was unlike anything he had ever imagined. For now, the galaxy was silent. But Jace Rowan had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same. The Eclipse Ark was quiet now, but not empty. Every corner of the ship seemed alive, softly humming, breathing almost, as if it had been waiting centuries for someone to finally awaken it. Jace Rowan had barely slept since stepping aboard. He had wandered for hours, marveling at holographic histories of alien civilizations, at floating machines that repaired themselves, and at rooms that seemed to exist in zero gravity, twisting space as if physics itself had been rewritten. But Jace knew he couldn't wander forever. He had to understand the ship, and somehow he had a feeling the ship wanted him to understand it. He made his way back to the central chamber, where the glowing orb, the ship's core, Orion, floated suspended in a transparent energy tube. The orb pulsed gently, like a heartbeat, bathing the room in soft light. "Hello again, Captain Rowan," Orion said. Its voice carried warmth now, almost playful. "You have seen some of what the eclipse arc holds, but the greatest secrets are not in what you have seen. They are in what you can imagine." Jace rubbed his temples. "Okay, so I get that this ship is amazing. I get that it's huge and alive, but why me? Why a human engineer?" Orion's light flickered. "You are uniquely suited to interact with systems that do not follow conventional logic. Your kind can improvise, explore, and create solutions that no other species can conceive. That is why you were chosen. I have waited for one such as you." Jace felt a mix of pride and terror. He was just Jace Rowan. He fixed things with wire and solder. He made gadgets out of scraps. And somehow, the galaxy's most powerful ship thought he was special. "All right," he said finally. "If I'm here to improvise, then where do I start?" "Start with the archives," Orion replied. "They contain the knowledge of civilizations lost, forgotten, or never known. You will find lessons, inventions, and ideas that may surpass anything your species has created." Jace nodded and followed a corridor filled with gentle glowing panels. Each panel displayed a different world. He stopped at one showing a city suspended in midair, buildings of crystal floating above purple clouds. Holographic inhabitants moved gracefully, communicating with light pulses. "It's beautiful, indeed," Orion said. "This city no longer exists, but its knowledge is preserved. You may study it, learn from it, and even share it if you choose. The eclipse arc was built to safeguard civilizations, not destroy them. Wait, I thought this was a warship. Everyone says it's a weapon." "You have misunderstood," Orion said gently. "The eclipse arc was never a weapon. It is a protector, a preserver, a library. Its size and technology were designed to safeguard knowledge during times of galactic crisis. Those who fear its power do not understand its purpose." For centuries, stories of the ship had spread across the galaxy. Entire fleets had tried to capture it, believing it a tool of domination. But here, inside, it was a sanctuary, a museum, and a laboratory. He walked further into the archives, watching scenes of alien worlds play out in holographic displays. One showed a planet entirely covered in oceans, where creatures resembling glowing jellyfish moved through the water in patterns that formed their language. Another display showed a civilization that lived entirely in harmony with plants, using them for energy, communication, and transport. Why? Why would someone build this? Jace asked. Why not just leave it to die? To leave knowledge unprotected is to let it vanish forever, Orion replied. The creators of this ship understood that civilizations may fall, but knowledge can endure, and perhaps one day a being would come along who could understand and protect it. That being is you. He had never thought of himself as important, and yet here he was, entrusted with a galaxy's worth of history, technology, and culture. He wandered into another room, filled with strange machines. They floated above the ground, pulsing with light. When he touched one, it responded, reshaping itself into a small device, like a drone, with delicate arms and glowing eyes. "Hello," it said. "I am part of Orion's network. I serve knowledge. I serve you." "You talk too?" "Of course," the drone said. "We learn and adapt. You may guide us. Together, we may explore systems that others cannot comprehend." For hours, Jace experimented. He combined floating tools, studied alien schematics, and even rewrote small programs in the ship's core interface. He was learning faster than he had ever learned anything before. Every step, every adjustment made the ship respond differently. Doors opened in new patterns, lights pulsed with new rhythms, and even the holograms seemed more vibrant. Then he found it. A sealed vault deep within the ship. It was massive, unlike anything else he had seen. The door was smooth, seamless, without a handle, keypad, or visible lock. On the surface, glowing letters appeared, "Only the worthy may see." Worthy? He wasn't sure he was even worthy of fixing a broken hover drone. How could he be worthy of unlocking the galaxy's greatest secrets? "Perhaps it wants me to try," he whispered to himself. Maybe it wants a human to solve it. Arian's voice echoed in the chamber. "You may try. Only a mind capable of creativity and insight may proceed. Your species possesses qualities that no other species has mastered. Use them, Jace Rowan. That is why you were chosen." Jace approached the vault carefully. He studied the glowing surface, noting subtle patterns, almost like musical notes. He tried touching them, sliding his fingers over the symbols. To his surprise, they shifted, reacting to his touch. Hours passed. Jace tried pattern after pattern, instinctively adjusting based on what felt right, rather than what made sense logically. Slowly, the symbols began to align, forming a pattern that resonated with him. A soft click sounded, and the vault slowly slid open, revealing a chamber beyond. Inside, Jace froze. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. A massive, transparent sphere floated in the center, pulsing with soft blue and green light. It seemed to breathe, almost alive. Around it, holographic tendrils stretched out, forming a network that connected every part of the ship. "That's Orion," Jace whispered, realizing he had been speaking to only a part of it before. This was the full intelligence, the true core of the Eclipse Arc. "Yes," Orion said, voice echoing from every direction. "I am more than the voice you have heard. I am the sum of knowledge, of civilizations, of ideas, of potential. You have awakened me fully, Jace Rowan." Jace's mind reeled. I don't understand. How can one human control this?" "You do not control me," Orion said gently. "You interface with me. You guide me. You bring qualities to this ship that no alien mind could. Creativity, curiosity, empathy, humor, insight. These are your tools. They are what makes humans remarkable." Jace blinked. "Empathy, humor? You mean the things I usually mess up?" Orion's light pulsed warmly. "Those are the qualities that allow you to see possibilities where others see obstacles. That is why you were chosen. That is why you may explore what others could not. That is why the Eclipse Arc awaits a human engineer." Jace took a deep breath, feeling a thrill of excitement mixed with nervousness. For the first time in his life, he realized that being human, curious, inventive, unpredictable, was exactly what the galaxy needed. He spent the next hours exploring the core, learning how the network connected every system in the ship. He discovered rooms that could simulate alien environments perfectly. He found laboratories capable of analyzing unknown materials, reconstructing them atom by atom. He saw chambers that could preserve entire ecosystems, with floating seeds, glowing plants, and tiny animals that responded to his movements. And everywhere, the ship seemed to respond to him. Lights brightened when he smiled. Machines adjusted when he touched them. Even holographic images shifted, showing him ideas that might inspire him. By the time Jace stepped out of the vault, the sun, or what passed for sunlight near the dead star, was low. He had learned more in a single day than he had in his entire life on Talos. And he had a feeling this was only the beginning. Jace Rowan, you are ready to explore more. The galaxy awaits your curiosity. There are civilizations to study, knowledge to preserve, and mysteries to solve. And there are those who will wish to take what you have discovered, but fear not. You are capable. You are human. You are extraordinary. Jace smiled, a mix of awe and determination on his face. He had no idea what challenges lay ahead, no idea what others in the galaxy would think when they saw a human walking aboard the Eclipse Ark. But he did know one thing. For the first time in his life, he felt that he truly belonged among the stars. And the ship had chosen him, not for his strength or his power, but for his human heart. Days had passed since Jace Rowan unlocked the full core of the Eclipse Ark. Every moment aboard the ship felt like walking through a dream. He had learned to navigate corridors that bent space, interact with machines that seemed to think, and study alien histories more diverse than he had ever imagined. And yet, the galaxy outside was not as quiet as the ship. As Jace explored the archives one morning, a new message appeared on the holographic communication panel. It was brief, formal, and direct. Captain Rowan, the Eclipse Ark is a threat to regional stability. Prepare to surrender the vessel to the United Galactic Council. He had heard whispers that some factions feared the ship, believing it a weapon of unmatched power. But now, the fear was real. Someone wanted the ship, and they wanted it fast. Orion's voice echoed in the chamber, calm but firm. They do not understand. The Eclipse Ark is not a weapon. It preserves knowledge. They will try to claim it by force. You must protect it without harming anyone. Jace swallowed. Protect it? Without weapons? He had never been in a real battle, let alone against fleets of alien warships. But then he remembered something Orion had said earlier. Humans excel at creativity. You are uniquely capable of solutions no other species can conceive. He took a deep breath. If he couldn't fight them, he would outthink them. The first fleet arrived days later, massive ships drifting through the void like predators. Their sensors scanned the Eclipse Ark, trying to find a weak point. Jace stood in the observation deck, Orion's core light pulsing beside him. What do we do? He asked. You will create, Orion said. You will show them that the Eclipse Ark is beyond their comprehension. That is the human advantage. Jace thought for a moment, then nodded. He had an idea. He began by activating holographic decoys. The corridors of the ship twisted and shifted, creating illusions of pathways, rooms, and machinery that did not exist. When the alien sensors scanned the ship, they saw impossible structures, staircases leading to nowhere, corridors looping back on themselves, and entire wings that seemed to vanish into thin air. The aliens tried to scan further, but the more they focused, the more confusing it became. The ship's AI responded to Jace's creative commands, changing the environment dynamically. Walls shifted, lights pulsed in patterns designed to distract, and holographic images of alien histories flashed in their sensors, making them hesitate. "Ha," Jace whispered. "Take that, you giant, scary ships. Your methods are unconventional, yet effective. Humans have a talent for lateral thinking. You are proving it now." Jace smiled, feeling a surge of confidence. He continued to invent. Using the ship's semi-sentient drones, he created holographic duplicates of himself, appearing in multiple places at once. The alien fleet could not determine which part of the ship he occupied. Every time they aimed sensors or attempted to board, they were met with nothing. The fleet became frustrated, their maneuvers erratic. Jace felt like a child playing a grand game of chess, except the stakes were an entire galaxy's knowledge. But he did not stop there. He discovered rooms that could manipulate gravity, adjust electromagnetic fields, and project illusions into space itself. Using these, he created the illusion of additional ships surrounding the Eclipse Ark. The fleet saw a massive armada, larger and more advanced than anything they had ever encountered. "They'll never come near us now," Jace said, eyes shining. "At least, I hope. They will adapt," Orion warned. "But so will you. That is the human advantage." Jace spent the next days testing his strategies. He used humor to confuse the fleet. In one instance, he projected holographic images of the alien admirals themselves, making exaggerated, funny gestures. The aliens could not understand the human humor, but it disrupted their calculations. Every creative solution, every unpredictable move, made the fleet hesitate. Meanwhile, Jace explored deeper into the ship. He found a room that could simulate entire planets, their ecosystems, and civilizations. He realized that the ship was capable of creating perfect replicas of worlds, not for conquest, but for study and preservation. With Orion's guidance, he began experimenting. He recreated ancient alien cities, testing environmental systems, learning how civilizations adapted to different conditions. "This is incredible," Jace whispered. "I could spend a lifetime learning here and still not understand everything." Orion's pulse brightened. "You already have contributed more than any other species. Your curiosity, your persistence, and your creativity are shaping the Eclipse arc in ways even I did not anticipate." He was just a human from a small colony. Yet here he was, influencing a ship that could rival the greatest civilizations of the galaxy. One night, while observing the alien fleet from the ship's observation deck, Jace noticed something unexpected. Instead of attacking, the alien ships hesitated, scanning the illusions and holograms, confused by the unpredictable patterns of the Eclipse arc. "They're unsure," Jace said. "They don't know what's real." "Precisely," Orion said. "Your ingenuity has bought time. Time to learn, time to prepare, and time to show the galaxy that power is not only in force." Jace nodded. He began designing a communication. But it would not be a threat. He would not use weapons. Instead, he created a holographic message, displaying images of the ship's wonders, the preserved alien cities, the ecosystems, the floating machines, and the archives of civilizations long gone. He broadcast it to the fleet. The message was simple. The Eclipse arc is not a weapon. It is knowledge, creativity, and life. You may fear it, but it is not your enemy. For hours, the alien fleet scanned, debated, and scanned again. Jace could see hesitation. Their leaders were unsure whether to attack, retreat, or negotiate. Finally, the fleet withdrew slightly, leaving the Eclipse arc alone in orbit. Jace let out a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. "See," Orion said gently. "Your species does not need brute strength to influence others. You create solutions that no one else can imagine. That is why you are human." Jace smiled, a mix of relief and triumph. "I never thought being human could be enough." "Enough!" Orion's light pulsed warmly. "You are extraordinary. You are exactly what this ship and this galaxy needs." The next days were quieter. Jace continued to explore, repair, and innovate. He learned how to interface with Orion more efficiently. Together, they designed simulations to study distant stars, ecosystems, and civilizations. He even began creating small drones that could map uncharted systems without disturbing native life. He discovered something else too. The ship responded not only to logic, but to his curiosity and emotions. When he laughed, lights danced. When he hesitated, shadows softened. When he felt wonder, the holographic archives expanded in brightness and depth. The Eclipse arc was alive in a way he had never imagined. And he realized something important. No alien fleet, no matter how advanced, could replicate this. The ship required a human mind, not for power, not for war, but for imagination, creativity, and empathy. One day, while exploring a hidden chamber deep in the ship, Jace found a message from the original builders. It was carved in strange light, floating in the air like a constellation. It read, "The galaxy's future depends not on power, but on understanding. Only those who can create without fear may inherit it." Kratos stirred at the glowing message. He felt a shiver run down his spine. This was not just a ship. It was a test, a challenge for civilizations to prove that intelligence, curiosity, and empathy were stronger than fear, greed, or aggression. He thought about the fleet that had arrived earlier. They wanted to take the ship by force, to control it, to wield it as a weapon. But Jace realized something. Force was meaningless here. Only understanding could unlock the true potential of the Eclipse arc. And he understood something else too. This was his responsibility. Not to conquer, not to fight, but to guide, to protect, preserve, and explore. To show the galaxy that humans, curious, creative, empathetic humans, could shape the future without weapons, without fear. That night, Jace sat in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. The galaxy stretched endlessly, full of mystery, danger, and wonder. He had no illusions about the challenges ahead. Some would still fear him, some would still misunderstand. But he also knew this: he was ready. And the Eclipse Arc, massive, alive, and extraordinary, had chosen him, not for his strength, not for his power, but for his humanity. For the first time, Jace Rowan felt not only capable, but confident. He was ready to show the galaxy the human advantage. And the galaxy, whether it knew it or not, was about to be changed forever. Jace Rowan stood on the observation deck of the Eclipse Arc, watching distant stars drift lazily through the void. He could feel the ship's pulse beneath his feet, a subtle rhythm like a heartbeat, and he knew the AI, Orion, was watching him as closely as he watched the galaxy. The events of the past days had changed him. The alien fleet had withdrawn, confused and awed by his ingenuity. The Eclipse Arc had responded to his curiosity, laughter, and creative thinking in ways even Orion had not expected. Jace had realized something fundamental. Humans were not the strongest species, nor the fastest, nor the most powerful. But they were unpredictable. They were creative. They were capable of solutions that no other species could imagine. That was the human advantage, and the galaxy had just begun to understand it. Yet Jace knew this was only the beginning. Word spread quickly across nearby systems. Reports of the human aboard the galaxy's largest warship, who had repelled entire fleets without firing a single shot, reached every corner of the galaxy. Some were frightened, seeing the Eclipse Arc as a potential weapon. Others were intrigued, wondering why a single human could control such a vessel. Jace realized he had to act. He could either hide the ship and its secrets, letting fear dictate the galaxy's future, or he could show them the truth. That power was not about destruction. It was about knowledge, creativity, and understanding. He chose the latter. Using the Eclipse Arc's advanced communication systems, Jace prepared a holographic broadcast. It was unlike any message the galaxy had received. There were no threats, no warnings, no ultimatums. Instead, the broadcast displayed the wonders of the ship, floating archives containing the histories of civilizations lost to time. Artificial ecosystems preserving creatures and plants from dozens of planets. Laboratories capable of creating life-supporting environments for research and exploration. Machines and drones that learned, adapted, and helped rather than harmed. Jace's voice spoke over the images, calm but confident. I am Jace Rowan, human engineer. You have heard stories about the Eclipse Arc, about its power and potential, but it is not a weapon. It is a library, a sanctuary, and a place of discovery. Knowledge is stronger than fear. Creativity is stronger than force, and understanding is stronger than anger. The galaxy watched. Entire star systems paused, unsure whether this human was bluffing or serious. The Eclipse Arc projected simulations of alien civilizations that no one had seen before, showing cities floating above oceans, forests that glowed at night, and creatures that communicated with light. Orion's light pulsed with pride. You are teaching them, Jace. They are beginning to see the purpose of this ship. The galaxy may finally understand. It's not enough for them to see. They have to feel it. They have to understand what it means to create rather than destroy. The first to respond were the scholars and explorers, species from across the galaxy who had always valued knowledge over war. They sent ships to dock with the Eclipse Arc, requesting access to its archives. Jace welcomed them, showing them the holographic libraries and teaching them how to interface with Orion. They were amazed. Some had never seen a human in person. Some had never seen a human capable of operating a ship of such complexity. Many asked questions about the human mind, about creativity, problem-solving, and empathy. Jace answered patiently, realizing that part of his task was to teach the galaxy what humans could offer, not with strength, but with intelligence and heart. Word of this reached the leaders of other factions. Some still doubted. Some feared. But as more species saw the results, cities saved from extinction, knowledge preserved, ecosystems studied, they began to reconsider. Jace continued to innovate. He used the ship's abilities to simulate solutions for environmental crises on distant planets. He created holographic demonstrations showing how civilizations could thrive without conflict, how knowledge could be shared, and how cooperation could lead to discoveries far beyond what any one species could achieve alone. And all the while, he relied on human qualities: curiosity, empathy, humor, and imagination. He built machines that could repair ecosystems, drones that could teach alien students about engineering, and simulations that allowed leaders to make informed, peaceful decisions. For the first time in history, the galaxy began to see humans as something more than a minor species from a quiet colony. They were innovators, problem solvers, and, perhaps most importantly, creators of solutions that no one else could imagine. The alien fleets that had once tried to claim the Eclipse Arc returned, not with weapons, but with emissaries. They had seen the broadcasts, experienced the simulations, and witnessed the humans' creativity firsthand. Jace met with them personally in a neutral chamber aboard the ship. Holographic images of thriving civilizations floated around them, shifting in response to their questions. Jace spoke calmly, clearly, and without pride. The Eclipse Arc is not a weapon. It is a library, a school, a sanctuary. You do not need to fear it. You do not need to fight it. You can learn from it. Together, we can preserve knowledge, understand one another, and create solutions to problems that none of us could solve alone. At first, the emissaries hesitated. It was difficult for species that measured strength by firepower to trust a human with the galaxy's greatest ship. But as they explored the archives, examined the ecosystems, and experienced the simulations, they began to understand. They began to see humans in a new light, not as fragile or weak, but as unique, capable, and essential contributors to the galaxy's future. Days turned into weeks. Jace continued to explore the Eclipse Arc with Orion. Every discovery inspired new solutions. Every experiment reinforced the importance of creativity, empathy, and curiosity. One evening, Jace sat in the observation deck, looking at the stars stretching endlessly before him. Orion's voice filled the chamber, soft and calm. "You have done what I could not do alone," Orion said. "You have shown the galaxy that understanding is greater than fear, creativity is greater than force, and the human mind is extraordinary." Jace smiled, leaning against the railing. "I just did what humans do best. We think, we explore, we imagine. I just had a really big ship to help me do it." "You have done more than any of your species could alone," Orion replied. "You have begun a new era." He realized that the galaxy was changing, not because of weapons or armies, but because one human had used ingenuity, empathy, and creativity to show what was possible. Weeks later, Jace activated a new program aboard the Eclipse Arc, a simulation of future civilizations. Species from across the galaxy participated, experimenting with solutions to environmental problems, space exploration, and interstellar communication. The ship became a hub of learning, diplomacy, and collaboration. Jace trained students, humans and aliens alike, in engineering, problem-solving, and creative thinking. He demonstrated how imagination could overcome obstacles, how empathy could bridge differences, and how cooperation could achieve what conquest never could. The galaxy was beginning to understand something profound. Humans were not the strongest, the fastest, or the most dangerous, but they were essential. They were creators, inventors, and innovators, and in the galaxy's most challenging times, that might be exactly what was needed. One night, as Jace wandered the corridors of the Eclipse Arc, he paused at the central chamber where the core, Orion, floated like a glowing star. "Do you ever get tired of all this?" he asked. "All the teaching, the exploring, the guiding?" "I do not tire," Orion replied, "but I learn. And you, human, have taught me more than I could have imagined. Your species' ability to create, to think differently, and to act with curiosity and empathy, it is extraordinary. Well, I guess that's what humans do. We look at the impossible and say, let's see what happens." Orion's light pulsed warmly. "Indeed, and in doing so, you have begun a new legacy." Jace leaned back, looking out at the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, challenges, and endless possibilities. And for the first time, he felt certain that humans, curious, inventive, unpredictable humans, were not just part of the galaxy. They were capable of shaping its future. And as the eclipse arc pulsed beneath his feet, alive and vast, Jace knew one thing. This was only the beginning. The galaxy had a new guide, a new teacher, and a new vision. And it was a vision led not by force, but by creativity, empathy, and the indomitable human spirit. Jace Rowan smiled. The stars stretched endlessly before him. The future was uncertain, vast, and full of challenges, but for the first time, he felt that humans were exactly what the galaxy needed. And somewhere deep inside, he knew that the galaxy had never been in better hands.